Ryan, you wrote the book Commie Cowboys, a very provocative title. What does it mean exactly?
This was a book that looked at the Western genre, cowboys and Indians and such, and really examined, did these movies really give out the message that people think they do? For decades and decades, the Western has been seen as this right-wing genre that promoted good old-fashioned American values and was very pro-capitalism and pro-free enterprise. And I was looking at a lot of Westerns and reading some of the literature about the genre and came to the conclusion that wasn't really actually the case at all, that if we look at Westerns, they really promote more of a Cold War regulated economy mindset, at least if we look at the Westerns after World War II. There are other periods that have different messages, but looking at what people mostly think of as the Western, the John Wayne Westerns, it wasn't all that pro-capitalistic at all and highly authoritarian in many ways. The hero is usually a government employee of some kind, a sheriff, and that actually what these movies often celebrate is government destroying freedom, on regulating people, telling people what to do, pushing around people who are disagreeable. And when we look at all those issues, the Western doesn't look quite as pro-American as has been said.
So what are your theories on alternatives to modern capitalism?
Those of us who are in favor of genuinely free markets would like to see actually free markets. We, of course, don't see anything like that. The money supply is heavily controlled. The banking system is heavily controlled. Real estate is heavily controlled. And we look at all of those things and we see that things would be better if we could repeal some of this control, because it's just been getting more and more heavy-handed since 2008. The banking sector, they're too big to fail, all of the bailouts. And so what we find ourselves in right now is not, of course, a truly capitalist system, but something that we would refer to as mercantilism, that system that the American revolutionaries fought against in the 18th century. That is, that idea that we have favored corporate interests, and we see it as in the interest of the state to favor those special groups that are well-connected politically, and we do that. And so when we look around the American economy, we see that everywhere. We see certain corporations, certain groups that are favored, and they receive bailouts, they receive taxpayer money, they receive regulatory favors. Everybody else is just on their own. And there's a saying in America that in our economy, it's socialism for the rich and it's free markets for the poor, meaning that, well, if you're rich and well politically connected, then you get taxpayer money, then you get favors. But if you're poor or middle class and you don't have any political power, well, then you just have to make it on your own.